guys, C to the MF&T Grommer here, and we're going to be finally doing a video on the DRZ. She gets no love, the DRZ400S here with SM rims and tires on it currently, but I like to go back and forth. Enough about that. Today we're going to be doing a full oil change service on this bike, and that includes cleaning the oil screen and changing the filter as well. So we're going to walk through that step by step today. This is everything you're going to need to do the service today, and I'll link all these products in the description below. You need a basic toolkit with sockets. I'll link the one that I use again. You're going to need genuine Suzuki parts, guys. I don't mess around with anything else. So this is a genuine Suzuki oil filter and a genuine Suzuki gasket. Now this goes on the back of the oil filter. I'll show you where. This is a part that gets lost sometimes and people forget to put it in, or it'll break and people don't replace it. This is very important or else this won't filter correctly. So I'll show you where this goes, and you really got to watch for that. You need some Shell Rotella T6, it's what I like, but you know what, you can use whatever you want, whatever you like. Some shop towels. Equally as important as this little gasket are the crush washers, okay? And let me tell you why. There are two crush washers you're going to need when you're doing this oil change. The frame crush washer and the bottom of the engine crush washer. Now, these are one-time use. You see the shape of these? They won't work once they get crushed a second time. So it's really important, you guys, that you buy these new every time. So you need to get these. You can get these from your local motorcycle shop. And again, these are different than conventional washers, which can be flipped over and inspected and reused. These completely crush, and they can only be used once. So make sure you pick up the frame one, and then you pick up the one that goes at the bottom of the engine as well. You'll also want some shop towels, and you'll also need a container for the oil to go into, and some cardboard underneath in case you spill some things. Optional equipment would be a torque wrench and an air compressor. And the air compressor is just to clean off the oil screen. I'll show you some different ways to do it, but nice to have an air compressor to do that. When we drain the oil out of this thing, we want it to come out quickly, and we also want it to completely drain out. And I'm going to move this back and forth, but the way to do that is to get the oil at least warm, I think hot. So I like to run this thing for, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes and let the oil get hot, so that way it'll completely drain out, and it'll drain out quick. So let's get her going. Okay, now that I'm feeling nice and inebriated from those fumes. Okay, the next thing we need to do is pull the frame drain plug and the bottom of the engine drain plug. The frame drain plug is a 12 millimeter and the bottom of the engine is a 14 millimeter. But because we're doing a full service, we also need to take off the bash plate at the bottom because we need to access the screen as well. So I'm going to start by taking off, while the engine cools off, I'm going to start by taking off the bash plate. Those are 10 millimeter, and to speed it up, I'm going to use impact, but just a regular socket set works too.
Whoa!
Okay, we've got our oil receptor in place. That's the frame oil drain plug. It's a 12 millimeter. We got to pull this hose, and right here, this brass fitting, this is where the actual screen is. So we're going to be pulling that out. We're going to be cleaning that off too. If you don't clean that off, you're not going to get adequate oil flow to and from the frame to the engine, and you'll have problems. Down under here, that's the 14 millimeter. That is the engine drain plug. So we're going to start by pulling the frame plug, letting that drain for a little bit. Then we're going to pull the engine plug. So let's do that now. Came right off. And I'll tell you why. I don't torque these down that much. Oh, got on my hands. Oh man, that's all right. Look how much is in that frame. That's crazy. Okay, you guys, sometimes it's kind of difficult. You kind of got to use a screwdriver and slowly shim the crush washer up. There we go. So you kind of got to shim it until you can just start unscrewing it. And I wanted to take this off and stop the video here real quick to show you guys something. Now look, on the right, that's the old one. I mean, you can't do anything with that. I mean, you should not reuse that. Once you torque it down and it gets crushed, you can tell you can never use that again. This is what the new one looks like. That's crazy, right? This right here is why we use new crush washers every single time. Here's the old one, here's the new one. And when you put it on, you put the tapered side down, like that, okay? So tapered side down, flat side up, and let's reinstall. And now remove, using our 14 millimeter, let's go ahead and remove the engine drain plug. Again, not much torque on that, you guys. I can do it myself, it doesn't need that much. The crush washer does the work. And these cases are very soft. So you just let the crush washer do the work, guys. You don't need to absolutely torque them down. Seemingly not very much in that one. Where the heck is my crush washer? There it is. Did you guys see that? The crush washer was stuck on there. So there we go. Now on this one, I guess I used just a normal washer last time. You guys can see that? And it was just stuck on there. I'm not going to reuse that. I'm going to use the conventional crush washer. The engine drain plug has a magnet on it to try to catch particles, metal shavings. Mine, as you can see, there were some, but not a whole lot because I change the oil every 1,500 miles. We're going to let this drain. Another technique I like to use to make sure all the oil's out of it is I like to stand the bike up straight and then kind of go back and forth like this. Give it a good lean, give it another good lean, give it another good lean. And you guys, I think that's empty. Oh, actually we got a little bit more leaking out. Okay, before I forget, let's put the new crush washer on, tapered side down, flat side up. Before I forget, we're going to just set it over here. Now we're going to attack. Now we're going to attack the. Now we're going to pull this off, and we're going to clean the screen. All right, guys. So what we have here is a funny little banjo bolt, washer, then the little banjo nut, whatever you want to call it, then another washer on the other side. So when we pull this off, we need to not lose track of all the stuff that comes with it. It's kind of a package deal. And then we're just going to get after this with the Phillips. That seems plenty loose. 15 millimeter, just like last time. Again, it's not that tight because I checked this and changed every other oil change. I do the screen. Ample oil flow, you guys, is the key to keeping these engines living long and prospering. You know what I'm saying? Looks like there's going to be some more oil coming out of here. So it is a banjo bolt, see? So there's a lot of oil flowing through here. You don't want to lose the washer that's on the other side of it. There is a washer on the other side of it, and then there's a washer here. So you just take this, hopefully this hose isn't getting too brittle for you, and you just pull it right off the little spigot here. It's coming. Oh, there we go. Washer here, and then it goes straight on. So I'm just going to keep it, there we go. I'm just going to keep it all together and set it aside. Now we got to pull this bad boy off with a socket. Might be a bit of a curveball for you guys, but this is kind of a big size socket. It's a 15/16. So hopefully if you guys have that, that works. If you don't have it, go get one, guys. Don't go after this with a wrench or something. Use the proper tool for the job. Ugh. Got no washer on this one, you guys. Okay. Well, this really didn't need any cleaning at all. This screen is in great shape. Here's the screen. As you can see, mine's got almost nothing on it, but I do my screen every 2 oil changes because I want maximum flow. I don't want any problems with my DRZ. I've seen these absolutely caked, and that can be a problem. So to clean these, all the stuff is on the outside, so you can run, people are gonna freak out on me, you can run water through here and some Dawn soap, and then use the compressed air to get all the water out of it. I don't care how you do it. You can use parts cleaner, spray it in here, put it in a little metal tub like this, a shot glass, put a bunch of parts cleaner or whatever you want. I don't care. Just make sure you blow it all off. That's where the air compressor comes in, and make sure it's all dry and free of all the other chemicals that were on it that you used to clean it, then put it back. So I'm gonna go clean this one right now. All right, this oil screen is living good, you guys. I got this in a bath of some Dawn soap and warm water. And I forgot to say this, guys, but oh, hey, there's a washer on here, so let's not lose that. I'm gonna clean that up and reuse it, so let's not lose that. Like I said, got this in a nice bath. Going to tell you guys, get yourself an old toothbrush so you can just go over it like so. See these metal particles? Just get them off. Just get rid of them. I'm going to rinse this with clear cold water now. You don't want that soap back in the engine, do you? Alright, let's get some compressed air on this. This is where the optional compressed air comes in handy. Okay, I told you guys, don't forget about its little O-ring, right? So we're gonna give it a little, gonna give it a little bit of WD-40. Just take a shop towel, wipe both sides. That looks a lot better. Before we forget, let's put it back where it belongs. There we go. All right, let's start reassembling. Okay, now it's time to put everything back. Now here's another little rule. This is going to go for when I reinstall this oil screen and any other plug. We want to clean these surfaces first. So when I put these oil drain plugs back, I'm going to clean the surfaces. So I'm doing this here, that surface, all the surfaces. One more once over each surface. I don't like leaks, you guys. There's a lot of crap in those threads. All right. Now, you can just snug this up, or you can look up a torque spec. After consulting the manual says 16.5 foot-pounds. So, that's what I'm going to take it to. Here we go. There we go. That's all it needs. Now I'm going to clean off all these surfaces, each one. I'm sorry, guys. It's weird, I know. Makes me feel better, though. And so I'm going to do the same thing to this, about 15 foot-pounds of torque, but there's an interesting order of operations here. You have to put this piece on first before you connect this, or else you'll never get this connected. So just trust me, don't forget about your snug up there. So again, just trust me on this order of operations, okay? Keep your hand here so you don't drop any of this stuff. This goes first. Once that's on, oh, see, it's easy to lose these bolts. Then you come over here. I can't get a good angle. There, I heard it. I backed it. What I did just now was backed it up until it clicked in, counterclockwise till it clicked into the spot. Now I'm going to slowly tighten and see if it's cross-threading or not. And it is not. Okay. Now I'm just going to do the same thing on this one, you guys. 15 foot-pounds is probably fine. Okay, I'm going to go to 15 on the button. And that's it. That's all it takes. And now, while we have the 15 on there, we might as well do our engine drain plug with our new crush washer in the cleaned surface. Again, if you're a torque spec guy, this calls for 15 foot-pounds, and it's going to crush
and it's crushing. It's not going to harden up. Oh, here we go. It's starting to harden up now. I would stop there. That feels like a lot. Maybe I'll go a little more. There. 15. And now for the smaller one, 12 millimeter. It's only 12 foot-pounds of torque. It's crushing. I wonder if you guys can see it. It's very satisfying to feel it crush. There, that's 13. That's all it needs, you guys. People who are not using torque specs or common sense, they strip these things all the time. So just be careful. Okay, now don't forget about our little fastener right here. No torque spec here, guys, just common sense. Okay, that's all done. For the sake of time, guys, I'm not going to show it. Put the bash plate back on here, and we're going to move on to oil filter. Last but not least, I change the filter every time. I believe the manual only says you need to do this every other oil change. But again, I want this engine to run forever. So I do this every 1,500 miles. I change the oil, and I change the filter every single time. I think the manual calls for 2,500 mile oil changes. I do 1,500 because I'm kind of neurotic and I want my engine to run forever. It's cheap insurance. Oh, that's what I knew would happen. Our O-ring, it's stuck right here. This is one thing to inspect and always have extra parts of, and I do have an extra part for this. This O-ring is still in good shape. I can see it right now, so I'll clean it up and I'm gonna reuse it. Let's pull this out. These are always in really good shape because, there we go. Because I only change them every 1,500. There's still a whole bunch of oil in there, so you guys know what to do. We're gonna just tip it, and oh, what a mess. Yeah. There we go. Just get the rest out of there. Get the rest of this nasty stuff out of here. There we go. Okay, you guys remember that O-ring I was telling you about? There it is. Now this O-ring goes right there on the back, and this thing rests, and it makes a seal here so that when the dirty oil is coming through here and coming out this way, none of the dirty oil gets regurgitated back into the engine. So it's constantly being filtered. The filter will not work properly if you do not have this O-ring. I keep a couple extras on me. This one, I like to pull on them and see if they're brittle. This one's still in good shape, so honestly, I'm back and forth. You know, I'll probably change it, but I'm gonna keep this old one. And in a pinch, you can reuse them, you guys, if you pull on them and stuff and they're not brittle. When I did buy this bike, it didn't have one of these in there, so it's a common mistake that people forget about these. So I'm gonna change it out to a new one, and we're gonna put the new oil filter in there. Okay, here's a new one. Now I like to actually just stick them on there first before I put on the new oil filter. And in case you're wondering, that way goes inside. There, you can kind of feel it all resting together there. Now it'll kind of just hang down until you get the lid on. But what I tell you guys I was going to do, I'm going to clean this one up really quick. Just give it a little wipe off. There we go. So I'm going to, well, that really doesn't need it. So I'm going to give it a little clean off, and I'm also going to wipe this gasket off. Pull on it. Oh guys, this gasket's fine. Okay, and what do I always say, guys? Clean the surfaces. So I think you want this arrow up like that to match up with that here. Like this. There. Can you guys hear that? Sounds like trash. That's dual sport abuse. Just snug them up, you guys. They don't need to be on there tight. There you go. There. Almost done, just gotta refill it. I'm gonna clean this whole area up. And then we'll fill it up. Okay guys, here's the oil drain plug. Remember to check this when the bike is sitting level, not on the center stand. But I'm just pulling it right now because we are gonna put in the oil. Here I am now with the most obnoxious funnel of all time. This is something that you are gonna need, by the way. We're gonna put in 2 quarts, so I just kinda eyeball it. So it needs to be about down to there. So here we go. So I'm gonna put that down on the ground and check it. Close. A little more. So that's a little over 2 quarts. What I'm gonna do now is, I've got the oil cap all the way on. I'm gonna start the bike and run it for 5-10 seconds. I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna take the cap all the way off. I'm gonna level the bike by sitting on it. You could put it on a dirt bike stool too, these things anyway. Level the bike. I'm gonna set it down just to the threads, not thread it. Then I'm gonna come back out and we're gonna have a look. So I know that's kind of a lot, but I'll just walk you through it. I'll let the oil move around a little bit, you know what I mean? Okay, so now I'm gonna take it all the way out. I'm going to wipe it, and I can already tell that's going to read correctly. Didn't thread it, come back out, level it, and we've got a little bit too much oil in there, and that's okay. There we are. So the oil, our current oil level is there, should be, you know, on that serrated area. So we got a little bit too much in there. That's all right. I did a little bit over a quart. I'm gonna run it like that, guys. All right, you guys, I'm running out of battery and it's getting dark on me. So I just wanted to go over one last thing really quick. I change my oil every 1,500 miles instead of the recommended 2,500. I like to change it, it's cheap insurance. I change the filter every time. The manual says change it every 2,500 miles and change the filter every other time. Again, I'm a little bit overkill. I want the bike to go a long time. I don't ever want to have to do anything with it. I want top end and everything else to go a really long way. Anyway, I hope you found this really helpful. It's a very meticulous video. I like to be very meticulous when I do my oil changes. If you do them the way I just did them, you'll be fine. I want to clarify one other thing. 2 quarts go in here, not 1. I think I said 1 quart when I was talking earlier. 2 quarts of oil. I did a little over 2 quarts accidentally, and it was a little bit high, but she's going to run just fine. Again, they burn a little bit of oil, especially when you've got them at high RPM. There's a little bit of blow by there. So anyway, guys, I hope you found this useful. Thank you so much for watching.
If you like what you saw here today, please help the channel grow by subscribing. Each subscriber means the world to me and encourages me to keep creating content. As usual, thank you so much for watching. And if you have questions, make sure you leave a comment. I always respond.